Hello everyone, so I'm back. Now I'm back for good this time. I'm hopefully going to be able to keep on top of everything from now on. Over the winter I just didn't really feel great. Also, the thing that I plug my microphone into kind of broke, so I couldn't use the mic. I had to use the onboard mic, which sounded awful, which is why the Evergrey video sounded as bad as it did. So I fixed that. I'm feeling better now, so hopefully I can get back into this. Because I've took so much time off, there is a hell of a lot to cover. So we're going to start with this one. It should be easy. I don't really want to waste too much time on this one, to be honest. So Black Fate with their newest album, Ithaca. So this released in 2020. I didn't cover it, which I should have done when it was new and fresh, but oh well, I'm covering it now. So those who don't know, I have got a review of the previous album that came out before this, that being the only album I have listened to by this band. They have released albums before that, but I hadn't heard them. I don't know how many there is. I haven't really bothered looking. I found them due to the lead singer and the lead guitarist, which I found from a different band called Sunburst. So I was into that band, saw that they were in this band, so I got onto the previous album before this one came out. And yeah, they categorized themselves as melodic metal. And to sum up my opinions and thoughts of the previous album, to kind of show if this is kind of improved upon anything. The previous album, although I was really trying to be nice, it wasn't really that great. As I said, the band kind of considers themselves melodic metal, but that seems kind of weird to me because there was barely any melody in the entire album. The guitars were purely just doing chords. There was no kind of slides or holds, leads. There was nothing. Even when it came to solos, there was nothing really melodic or musical or took its time. Everything was just chords, and then when it came to solos, it was purely speed and nothing else. There was no lift, no melodies. They have a keyboardist, but in the previous album you could barely hear him. The vocalist hasn't got a very high voice. It's kind of bassy, kind of dry as well. So when he's singing without putting a lot of kind of energy into it, which the previous album he really kind of didn't, mixed with the chords and the dryness of the music, mixed with the dryness of the voice and everything, it came across incredibly bland. There is nothing musical, which is why I find it ironic that they're calling themselves melodic metal when there was no melody to it, including the solos. The guitarist is known actually as a phenomenal guitarist. He even has a signature guitar, and people say he's one of the best. Obviously people who really follow, because people can be fanatic with bands. But I kind of did say in the previous review that I would probably fire the guy unless he gets his finger out and properly tries, because the entire album was chords. That was it. There was nothing else. It was going from song to song, doing the same thing, chords, nothing to separate. There was nothing that was really fast-paced or something that then kind of slowed it down, something a bit more up-tempo to slow-tempo, fast solo to melodic solos, something progressive. There was nothing. It's just your bog standard structure of a song, do your chords, really dry voice, nothing musical, and then fast solos that aren't overly long either, so there's not a lot going on. So you're kind of left with something bland, nothing, no soul, nothing. So going into Ithaca, obviously there is a lot they can improve on. The vocalist can start putting a bit more kind of melody into his vocal structure and vocal performance. The guitarist can actually try and achieve a melodic solo for once and do something other than the bog standard chords. So this album consists of 12 tracks, although technically it's 11 because the first track, From Ashes and Dust, is an intro track, which is bloody annoying. It's completely pointless as well. The singer does come into it, so you do get the singer in it instead of these other intros in other albums where it's not got any of the band in it. It cuts off and then it goes just into the next song that doesn't even it's not even a continuation from the intro track. So it's like, what's the point of it? This has the singer, but it does have that cut off. Therefore, the first actual track, Ithaca, starts on its own. It doesn't come off of the intro, so the intro is kind of pointless and a waste of time. So 11 tracks, you're under an hour for the album, so it's, you know, decent length. Going into it, you kind of hear that it's a lot more symphonic off the bat. The keys are in there, you've got some strings as well. I don't think it's an actual choir, it's probably kind of some kind of program that they pulled just to put in an artificial choir. That doesn't obviously, I'm not going to knock them for it, I'm just saying it's not a natural choir, it's probably a fake one, but it's still very effective. It gives you a symphonic nature instead of just the very, very bland nature of things. The guitarist, again, is kind of doing chords. He's got a bit more of a kind of tempo about him, while in the other album it kind of sounded like he was bored to tears. So even though he's still doing chords, there is a bit more of a kind of up-tempo about it, so it's a bit more exciting. The same thing actually goes with the voice. So in the previous album, everything was kind of slow and dreary and dry, and God, it just sounded like the whole band were depressed and just wanted to slit their wrists. It was so depressing. The singer now kind of sounds more energetic. He sounds confident, energized. He seems really more with it, and it really helps. So the guitarist having a bit more of an up-tempo about it to give it something a bit more exciting, and the singer definitely being a lot more committed and confident. He sounds better. The guitar still kind of dull, but is an improvement. The keys really try and take lead here. So the keys are giving you the big kind of symphonic undertones, which helps take away the dryness of the overall kind of song, well, the guitar basically. So the keys really do kind of add to it. The song also does kind of keep changing throughout, while in the other album things kind of remain kind of bog standard, and if there was a change, it wasn't exactly going up tempo at all. This first track, Ithaca, it kind of keeps shifting, keeping your interest peaked and everything. And then the solo in this track, it is the best solo, so it's great that you actually start off with the best solo. You're getting into the album, this is what needs to hook you, so you continue your listen, not kind of check out. It's a greatly structured solo. You have the speed in there. You have your melodies in there. You have your kind of mid-tempo, rhythmic kind of run and everything, just to kind of break things apart. It's a perfectly structured solo. The fact that he maintains holds and does slides and maintains a melody, and then sprinkles in the kind of speed and everything. So you always got that melody, that thing that can kind of hook you. Then you give your, technical prowess instead of just being purely technical, because that just gets like, it just kills your brain cells. You can't really focus when everything's so technical. You need the melody there to have a foundation, something easily to kind of get hooked into, something memorable. So when you get them little sliver tastes of the technicality, it sticks with you more than if it's just you're always bombarded with technicality. It's just so much going on for the brain to really be able to digest and handle. And as I say, it's not really melodic either. It's not as musical as being melodic, which is more musical. So it is a fantastic solo. It's not even just decent, it is very good. I really do kind of enjoy the solo. It is so well structured. But as you kind of progress through the album, you do notice that the pattern still kind of consists. The guitarist, unfortunately, Ithaca, well structured, great amount of length to it. The other tracks, he does still lean more kind of into the technicality for my personal preference. I wish he didn't, but he does. I do think he is still got more range in this than the previous album, so that is a plus, but I don't think he's really grown as much as he needed to, really. The solos are kind of fine. They're not something that really you go to this album because it's like, these solos are phenomenal, I have to listen to the album for them. It's just, they're there. It's not the worst type of solos you've ever heard, but Ithaca, wow, that's a great solo. Some of the solos he does kind of put more kind of melody into. As I say, he does lean a lot more into the technicality, but he does seem to be trying to be more musical. It's just, it's a very kind of abysmal kind of attempt, but you can tell that there is some musicality throughout. The vocalist has just improved. He is so much better. He just sounded so fed up and like he wasn't trying in the previous album. This album, he sounds great. There's nothing wrong with him. As I say, the keys really help because they are always maintaining the kind of symphonic nature to it, something more melodic. So I do kind of like that. The thing I kind of checked on is the guitar. So it was kind of bugging me. The guitar tone just sounded so unusual to me. Now, it sounded emotionally kind of hollow and dead, so there's not like warmth to it, which usually it's from bass, but it's not bass heavy. So the fact that it's not bass heavy, but I'm not getting any kind of warmth from it. There's no kind of warmth, it's just empty, it's kind of bland. So I actually checked in on it. I actually looked up the guitar and saw what pickups he was using. So the pickups he's using, I actually am aware of. I know of the pickups that he uses. So the pickups he's using is Bare Knuckles Aftermaths. Now, this will probably be the reason why it's very, very, very dead of warmth or kind of personality. The Aftermaths are basically the tightest pickup that Bare Knuckle do. They are insanely tight. So for those who don't know what that probably means, it basically means that instead of going pure bass and you lose all the articulation and warmth, it is just pure bass. The Aftermath being so tight is technically the complete and utter opposite. So what the Aftermath does is it takes up the treble, the mids, up to the maximum, and then turns the bass all the way down. There is zero bass. Which is why I say it sounds emotionally dead because there's no warmth. The bass, a little bit of bass, does give it that kind of warmth to it, but you don't want an abundance of bass. So the fact that there is nothing, it just means that you just basically just get the guitar, and that is it. That's all you got. He picks, there's no trail off, there's no bass, there's no kind of warmth, it's just very tinny, it's empty. And that is the issue. So as he's playing his chords and everything, which obviously is not the most musical thing out there, the fact that there is no warmth to the tone, it's not exactly organic because it's so incredibly tight, is not helping. Now, obviously as I say, the keys help out. Sometimes he does help himself out, so in certain tracks like Maze, he's not constantly playing, he has little pauses, so the kind of keys underneath him can just give the kind of effect of melodies, something a bit more somber and everything, and then he'll come in with some what do you call them, the high notes. I can do them for Christ's sake. What do you call it? It's not pinched harmonics. I know what it is. It's basically when you put your finger in the middle of the fret and you raise it and then pick, and it kind of puts off a very high kind of sound. It sounds great, but I forgot what it's called. But yeah, it's great. So in Maze, because he does that, it's not just the plain chords, it's got some highness to it, which takes away from just the pure deadness of the thing. And then what have we got? Fortress of Solitude. So Fortress of Solitude, the intro to that is great because he actually does do a lead. This obviously helps because doing a lead, that melodies. There's a melody to it. It's not just chords. There's a fluidity to it. There's a structure to it. So that kind of breaks it out of the repetitiveness, the blandness as well. So he has his moments. As I say, the keys really help bring the melody out. The vocalist is actually now doing great vocal melodies as well. So that's all working for it. It's just the guitarist does focus a lot more on just basically keeping the kind of heavy grunting. But it would be nice if he kind of breaks out of that. As I say, at times he kind of does in Maze. It's still kind of chords. It's just these little kind of tweaks where he does that little kind of high thing, which name escapes me. And then obviously Fortress of Solitude, he kind of does a lead, but for the most part it is still kind of chords, but he does do some nifty little things here and there. Another thing I did kind of notice, which kind of stuck out, is some of the choruses do kind of seem fairly repetitious. Obviously they're not just going to be carbon copies of lyrics, the exact same structure, and it is the exact same thing. It's just, it closely resembles... And it's weird. You take Fortress of Solitude, Nemesis, Secret Place. It's the way it kind of goes about. It seems to always have the same kind of tempo. I don't know if it's the tempo. There's just something about some of these choruses that seem to always be sung similarly, sounds kind of similar. There is always something where every time I listen to the album, even the previous album, worse so obviously in the previous album because everything was just always seemed to be always the same crap. They didn't seem to have ideas or anything new to offer. So yeah, in this album there are choruses which don't sound exactly the same, but you do have these moments where every time I listen to it I feel there is something about these choruses which is very similar. I do think it's basically the vocal melodies. Whenever the chorus approaches, he just seems to have a way to sing a chorus. And obviously, as I say, the guitarist always kind of seems to play chords and everything, so that's not going to be far off. So that gives some slight repetition. So is it a bad album? No. It's obviously not great. It's an improvement on the previous album, so that's good. It's nice to see that the band does keep improving. I think the improvement could have been better than this. As I say, the lead guitarist really needs to try harder. I know that he's seen as a phenomenal guitarist, and technically he is really well gifted. It's just the fact that his solos are way too short. He only seems to be a kind of one-trick guy, which is basically he does speed. Other than that, he knows nothing. The fact that the guitarist can't play and convey emotion shows kind of limitation of a songwriter to me. Like, doing speed, you don't really have to worry about the melodies and the structuring or anything. You just go in and do purely speed. To sit down and have to do something that is melodic and well structured and something that sounds nice and warm is going to be a lot harder than just dishing out just a shit ton of speed. Because everything's just going to get lost in the absolute bombardment of speed and technical shit. So you're not really going to be able to really kind of you don't really have to articulate, do you? You don't have to, obviously, I'm doing speed from here to here to here to here, but I need to make sure it has a flow. No, you're going so fast, who the hell cares? So yeah, it's a decent album. Vocally, he is a really good vocalist. It's obviously just the previous album. It's just nothing was coming together to mix. But this album, at least, does seem to. The singer seems to be actually doing what is needed for this band, and the keys are really kind of help support him. He supports himself. As for the other album, I just don't think he was really doing what he should have done. There's just better vocal melodies, a better range to him. The keys really do kind of help just give you that kind of atmosphere and everything, which really helps because there was bugger all in the previous album. Zilch of an atmosphere, zero melody, it was god awful. And as I say, the guitarist is still my biggest issue. But as I say, the track Ithaca, that is a fantastic solo. He has his little breakout moments from time to time. Some of the solos, they're fine. As I say, he is technical. They're not like, that is absolute crap. I don't know why he tries. He clearly has no talent. He clearly does. It's just he needs to be a better kind of songwriter when it comes to melodies and things. He needs to convey more melody, especially when it's a melodic metal band. It's so confusing because it seems so like against going the melodic route. Like, it's so weird that they are melodic metal. So giving it a score, like 8 is a great album, and say this, I do enjoy it. Listening to it, it's fine, but because choruses kind of sound the same, the guitar riffs, there's barely any that are very interesting or that appealing. Vocally, big improvement. Keys, pretty nice. The guitarist has his moments. So there's moments of good shit, but kind of few and far between. So yeah, let's just get this over. We're putting a score on it. It's probably going to be something like 7.8. Yeah, it's still a very good album. Everything is kind of there. It's just nothing is really kind of solidified to be, you know, great. Everything is really, really good. It's just none of them are, you know, at peak performance. So, yeah, not a bad album. 2020 wasn't really a great year for albums. That also made my depression really bad because I seek music so much. And it's like everything I am talking about is crap I am not that interested in. So it didn't really help. As well as living in England over winter and everything. It's just pitch black, which brings you down quite aggressively. So, yeah, that's it. Not a bad album. Not bad at all. I think anyone can get into it. It's easy listening. I think for people looking for something a bit more thought-provoking, ain't going to be as interested. Something really guitar-based, even though, as I say, this guitarist is well-known and is said to be great. I think them proper, you know, guitar enthusiasts, not the ones who are just like, speed is everything. Obviously, I think they're going to be disappointed, but I think everyone can listen to it. I don't think someone will listen to it and just say, wow, that was a waste of my time. They've ruined my childhood. They've ruined my ears for life. I'm going to die an unhappy person. It's like, it's not that crap. Or just like, I'll never listen to it again. Like, you can go back and listen to it. It's not, what I'm getting at is it's basically, it's not, as I say, great. And no one's going to be super over the moon and impressed or anything about it, but don't write it off. It is a fine listen. You will get enjoyment out of it. You'll listen to it, and at the end of it, you'll be like, that was alright, that was okay. It wasn't great, it's not a masterpiece, it's not a triumphant album, but there's nothing really that bad about it, and I enjoyed my way through it. So, that's the best I can really give it. So, I hope to see you again soon. Hopefully, I stick to that. And I'll see you in the next one. Hope to see you later, guys.